What's up, guys? Scotty2Hockey here, aka the average hockey fan, once again for the third time tonight. I tried this. Hopefully, you guys can see me now because I can finally see the live chat. I tried to do my stream twice in the past half hour. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I'm only 10 minutes late. But thankfully now I can see the live chat because it's kind of hard to do a stream without a live chat. So I'm going to let people that were waiting to see my live stream for the scheduled stream I made, let them know that I'm live now because yeah, this is kind of out of hand here. I'm not gonna lie. I was very disappointed when I couldn't get my stream going when I wanted to. But hopefully you guys can see me, and hopefully we'll get some people in here because there's been quite a bit of Habs news. Now, obviously not about trades and rumors and stuff, but a lot of moves at camp, a lot of cool things. Hey, Troll, how's it going? Thankfully now you can see me, and thankfully now you can hear me. Sorry about the scheduled thing. I scheduled a live stream, tried to go live twice on it. The chat wouldn't work, so unfortunately I had to log out of my Streamlabs, log back in, but thankfully now I'm live. And for some reason it says I have 0 viewers, even though I clearly have 3 people here. So there's something on the go with my live chat, but it's still working fine right now. A lot of good news coming out about camp. The red team won yesterday, 5-4. Anybody's a Paul Barron fan, he had the shootout winner. Keith Kincaid looked good, and my We the North thing just collapsed in the background. Give me a second to fix that, guys. I didn't see the training camp, but I've read some pretty good stories, and I got some quotes and articles here I'll read for you guys. Josh Brook, does have a real chance. Troll Mick Trollington, great name, says Josh Brook has a real chance to make the team. And from what I've heard coming out of training camp from the first day, he really impressed a lot of people, media, coaches, fans alike. The Toronto Maple Leafs are here where I'm to. The training camp for the Toronto Maple Leafs is here in St. John's, Newfoundland. So I wish it was the Habs because obviously it's the worst team in the NHL. It's the team I hate. I don't want to say hate. It's the team I dislike the most in the NHL. So yeah. Excuse me, guys. Great news. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm 4 hours away from you. Oh, Troll, you're from Newfoundland too, are you? Or clearly from around the bay, as they call it around here. Great. Great to have a fellow Newfie in here. If you're only 4 hours away, I'm assuming you have to be from Newfoundland. Or you're from like Bell Island or Fogo Island or something, but still from Newfoundland. Bonavista, shout out to Bonavista. I've been to Bonavista a few times. Actually, just got back from Marystown a few weeks ago. My woman's stepmother got married out there. I gotta fix my We the North flag in the back, guys. Give me 2 minutes, and thank you for joining in on the live stream. I appreciate it. Got a good article to read for you guys. What is going on here? All that time and effort to set that up, and it falls in the background. How classy. This is the best background I can get in my living room, and my computer, my new computer I should say, is in my living room. Absolutely great computer with Windows 10. NHL Hockey News Report says, thanks for checking out my Canadiens jersey video yesterday. Yeah, I checked out a few of your videos, man. A few of your Montreal Canadiens videos. Like your channel. I'm subscribed to your channel. I've been subscribed to your channel for a while, actually. But yeah, the jersey was great. The video was great. Keep up the good work, man. You got a lot of videos. This dude covers a lot of stuff. So NHL Hockey News Reports, if you want to check out his channel and subscribe, feel free to, guys. I'd like to talk about an article I read earlier. I actually had it pulled up so when I did this, I'd be ready to go. But then I had to go on Google and figure out what was on the go with my live chat and figure out how to fix it. Fortunately, I just had to sign out of my Streamlabs, sign back in, and I was good. Troll McTrollington says, what do you think of the Julius Honka rumors? I don't like them personally. I'm not a fan of Julius Honka. Somebody said yesterday that Cale Fleury might be getting traded for Julius Honka. If that's the case, please God no. Please God no. Josh Hunt says, I saw the red versus white earlier today. They seemed rusty, but I saw some good moves from the vets and a few from the rookies. Glenn McInnes says, trade for Honka. I wouldn't be pissed if the Habs traded somebody like Charles Hudon and a 5th round pick for Honka, but I heard people are saying Cale Fleury might be going the other way for Honka, and I would not be cool with that trade, but depending on the price, I wouldn't mind seeing Julius Honka in Montreal. We could use the defensive depth, and he was a former 6th overall pick. I know he's been a letdown so far in the NHL, but yeah, I wouldn't mind Hudon for Honka 1-for-1. I don't know. I think Honka may have a little. Hudon scored 20 goals in the league before, I guess. He didn't do much last year, but where Honka's so young and the potential is still there. Like, he obviously hasn't come close to his ceiling. I don't know if they would do that. You'd probably have to spice it up with a 5th round pick or like a lower pick. Maybe even get away with a 7th round pick. Did you guys see who we got in the 7th round this year? Raphael Harvey Pinard, 82 points in the QMJHL. Steal in the 7th round. 2 years ago, we got Caden Premium in the 7th round. Mark Bergevin knows how to pick those 7th round guys. And Sports Reviews 91 has subscribed. Thank you very much, Sports Reviews 91. I appreciate it. Now, this is the article I read earlier. It's by Dave Stubbs. I obviously can't read the entire article, but I will read the main parts that I liked. And it starts off saying, Montreal, Jesperi Kotkaniemi shifted this way and that way at the Bell Center on Sunday, finally deciding on a cute backhand. His penalty shot attempt perishing on the stick of Montreal Canadiens goalie Carey Price. So Carey Price stopped that one with a stick. And then after that, a few minutes later, Kotkaniemi, playing for the red team, stood at the center of the ice for another penalty shot in the Canadiens' annual red versus white scrimmage. Freebies were awarded in lieu of penalized opponents serving 2 minutes. So if you got a 2-minute penalty, instead of getting the 2-minute penalties, you'd get a penalty shot. This time, the 19-year-old forward ripped a shot from the hash marks between the face-off circle dots to score stick side on Team White's goalie, Carey Price. He scored that on Price, who didn't exactly overexert himself. So, according to what Kotkaniemi says here, he says Price gave him the goal. It's probably just being humble, but this is Kotkaniemi's quote. He said, "Did you see me talk to him before the second one?" Kotkaniemi said, he had a chat with Price in the crease before the second one and told him, "Please, God, give me one, please." And then he also says, "I was a little frustrated." Kotkaniemi said his miss, laughing as he described his rear wind-up on a penalty shot. "It doesn't work too often, but I think it was my only option. I think Price just gave me that one, but I'm happy he did." So Kotkaniemi had a nice shootout goal, but apparently he thinks Carey Price gave him that one. And according to the media, Price didn't overexert himself. So they're having a bit of fun with it at training camp. And Josh Brook, I heard, has been excellent. I'll get into some of your questions now, guys. I just wanted to read a little bit of that. And there's been a few other quotes from players, too. And also, the Reds defeated the Whites 5-4. Paul Byron scored the only goal in a shootout on Caden Premium. Keith Kincaid made saves against forward Charles Hudon, Jonathan Drouin, and Jordan Wheel. And Drouin had a beauty of a dangle. I don't know if it was a goal like in the red and white scrimmage, but it's been all over Twitter where he comes in, he's right in front of the net, he dangles one Habs defender, comes in, does the reverse Peter Forsberg on the goalie. Instead of going backhand, he comes over. It looks like he's going backhand, takes it back over to the forehand. Boom. Beautiful goal. Go Habs Go says Byron seemed pissed off all game long. He did score the shootout winner, though, but I didn't see it, unfortunately. I didn't get to see the red versus white game because here in Newfoundland, it wasn't on TV. If it was, I couldn't find it, and I couldn't find a live stream of it, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I was watching UFC last night, Justin Gaethje versus Cowboy Cerrone, so my attention was on that, but I will be checking it out 100%, and I checked out all the highlights, read 100 articles about it, just haven't been able to get around to checking it out. Fortunately, my daughter's asleep now, have a bit of free time on my hands, and I will 100% be checking that out. Now let's get into some questions. Let's get into some talk. Let's go back to the top. Glenn McInnes had the last one. Troll NHL Hockey News Report says, "How many Canadiens jerseys do you have?" I have one Canadiens jersey, a Carey Price jersey. Unfortunately, it's a little bit raggedy from playing ball hockey, and as you can see, I have a Team Canada jersey as well. And I also have an old school Newfoundland St. John's Fog Devils jersey. That used to be a team that was here. I believe they were a QMJHL team. They were only here for 2 or 3 years. I also have an old Fog Devils jersey. Shout out to the Fog Devils and shout out to the Growlers. The Newfoundland team, we have the ECHL team, won the Kelly Cup this year. Proud of my Growlers. Glenn McInnes says Crosby will come to the Habs someday. I can't say I 100% agree with you, but I could kind of see that happening. It's his childhood team. He loves the Montreal Canadiens. Maybe he doesn't love them after playing against them all these years now, but he grew up idolizing the Montreal Canadiens. I wouldn't doubt there's pictures of Crosby in Habs sheets like there is Tavares in Maple Leaf sheets. Don't get me wrong, but maybe at the end of his career for a year or two, when he'll still have something left in the tank, I'm sure, come in and finish his career in Montreal. Wouldn't that be awesome? And lead Montreal to a Stanley Cup or be a part of it. That would be amazing. Troll McTrollington, love that name, man. I'm surprised Pinard was cut so quick. It's because he was a junior-aged player. They only kept 2 junior-aged players. If you were a junior-aged player, it's like Mark Bergevin said, you would have had to really impress. You would have had to really stand out. The only junior age players they kept were Liam Howell, and they kept Gianni Fairbrother even though he was injured. And I believe he's good. He's like day to day, so he'll probably get a day or two in camp. I'm not sure. Um, KK with the clapper, says Troll McTrollington. Yeah, the clapper from the face-off. That's the Price let it in, apparently. KK looks much stronger. Yeah, apparently he put on like 15 pounds of muscle or something. 10 or 15 pounds of muscle from what I've been hearing. And he does look much stronger. He was 18 years old last year. When you're that age, you mature quickly. Myself, unfortunately, I didn't. Sometimes I still get ID'd in stores. I'm 31 years old, and when I shave my beard, people still think I'm like 23, 24. But yeah, sometimes kids like that, especially mature kids like Jesperi Kotkaniemi with his size and his frame, they mature quickly. I wouldn't doubt in a couple of years we'll see KK with a full-on goatee. No joke. And the guy's only going to get stronger, only going to get bigger until he hits his peak. And even after that, eventually he'll get my age and he'll start fattening up, though. Joshua Hunt, my buddy Josh, says, Josh is also from Newfoundland. Troll McTrollington is from Newfoundland as well. He's from Bonavista. Josh is from here in town. Josh Hunt says, Byron smashed his stick today. Haha, I think Price gave KK that one. See, you seen it, Josh. I didn't get to see it. I seen the Drouin moves. I seen a couple of highlights. I seen Christian Folin leave Brendan Gallagher hanging. I actually have it on my Twitter. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it good, but I'll show it to you on my Twitter now in a second. Folin, I believe he scored a goal. He's had his hands up in the air, and he's coming by batting all the players' hands, and all of a sudden you see Galley there with his hand up, like pointing at Folin, like, come on, give me a high five, like, give me a fist pump, and Folin just completely, he didn't mean to do it, obviously, but completely just blew him off and didn't even acknowledge him. It was pretty funny, I'm not going to lie. Now I'm just trying to get to my homepage. I also have that Drouin dangle, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show footage from Habs camp. I'm allowed to show the celebration. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with that. But actual, like, game footage. But yeah, this is the one where Folin leaves Galley hanging. I don't know if you can see it, guys. I'll hold it up to the camera now. Folin comes in. He goes by. He touches one player's hand. He touches another player's hand, and you see Galley over there looking at him. Come on now, give me the fist pump. Skates right by him. Didn't even see him. Absolutely ghosted Galley. I loved it. I actually died at that. Troll McTrollington says, what's up, Josh? What's up to all my fellow Newfies and wherever you're from? Nicholas says KK looked great. 100% agree with you, Nicholas, from what I've seen of him. I'd like to see the full footage, but what I've seen of the highlights and what I've seen of the moves, KK looked great, and Drouin looked good to me, too. Drouin had some nice moves. I got to get back up here. I think I missed a few of your comments, guys. If I did, my bad. NHL Hockey News Report says Kincaid is a good backup. Or is he a good backup? He has a question mark at the end of it. I think Keith Kincaid's a reliable backup. They overplayed him in New Jersey. The year before last year, the year before this prior year, Keith Kincaid had like almost a 920 save percentage. I know it was over 910 and not a bad goals against average. And he isn't a bad backup goalie. He just got played too much this year in New Jersey. He had a shit team around him. He did what he could. He was similar to Antti Niemi was in Montreal, but he played way more games. He only had 15 regulation wins in like 40-something games that he started. After him, Go Habs Go says, Byron seemed pissed off all game long. Yeah, Josh was saying the same thing. He said he smashed his stick. And Glenn McKinnon says, that's why. Nicholas says, KK looked great. Yeah, he did. I acknowledge that, I'm pretty sure. But KK did look great, Nicholas. And thank you for joining the live stream. If you haven't subscribed, guys, if you can, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. My goal is to get to 500 by the beginning of the season. I was actually going to put a little thing up in the bottom of the screen that said goal, subscriber goal, and it shows how many I have and what I'm trying to get to. But I couldn't figure out how to get it on my screen in time for the live stream, and I didn't want to do too much editing and screw up my live stream. That's that Newfie accent, see, it catches me on certain words, like editing. Apparently, I thought it was anything. But anyways, back to the stream. It says I have 0 viewers, but clearly I don't have 0 viewers. I have no idea what's on the go with my live chat up in the corner. There's a couple people in here for sure, and I appreciate all you guys being in here. Josh Hunt says, it's the Newfie water, man. Keeps us looking young. Yeah, it must be, because Josh looks pretty young himself. Troll McTrollington says, I'm 37 and people think I'm in my late 20s. It must be the Newfie water because Troll is also from Newfoundland. Troll McTrollington says, just watching that on Twitter. Yeah, it's great. You're talking about the Christian Fulham thing or the Jonathan Drouin dangle? Because the Drouin dangle was a beauty, too. There was a couple. Drouin had a shot from the hash marks, too, where he scored. I don't think it was on Price, but he scored on one of the goalies. Maybe it was Kincaid. I know Fleury, or Premu played, too, excuse me. NHL Hockey News Report says, best player from the red and white game? Question. Well, from everything I've seen, everything I've heard, it was probably Jonathan Drouin from what I've heard. But like I said, I didn't see the full training camp game. But from everything I've heard from Hab fans, everything I've read, Jonathan Drouin looked very impressive. And Paul Barron looked very pissed off, but he did have the game winner from everything I've heard. 10 people on NHL Hockey News Report says, thanks for telling me that, bud, because it says 0 up in my corner. I could have 2, I could have 10, I could have 30 here, and I wouldn't know right now. I have no idea what's on the go with my streaming setup. It took me 3 tries just to get in and get the live chat going. Maybe it's just their site that runs it is having problems right now, but it isn't good for somebody when they're scheduling their first ever Sunday live stream, and they've been telling people 3 days in a row that they're going to be live streaming every Sunday, and they do that to them. But I can't complain. It's a free site. I'm not paying to do this stream or anything like that, so I cannot complain. Josh Hunt says, haha, yeah, I look young all the time. I hear you. I'd probably ID you myself, but you do look young. I'm not going to lie. If I shave the beard, I look a lot younger, but I haven't shaved the beard in forever. My woman would not be pleased if I shaved this beard. I shaved my beard, I think it was like 6 months ago. And she honestly looked at me in disgust when I came out of the bathroom. I don't know what that says. She loves me either way, but Sports Reviews 91 says, hello, I subscribed. Thank you very much, Sports Reviews 91. Actually, I gave you a shout out for that because in the top of my stream here, I see everybody who's willing to show that they subscribe, the way their privacy works. And I've seen that you subscribed 12 minutes ago. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, if you want to talk anything about the Habs or about hockey, feel free to leave a comment, my friend. And welcome to the stream. Josh Hunt says, Paling isn't comfortable with the cameras yet. They kept shoving them in his face. Yeah, he's a kid from the NCAA from St. Cloud. He hasn't dealt with a lot of media. There was a thing on YouTube. It's on the Habs YouTube channel. You go in and it's Ryan Paling's. It's like an MTV Cribs style thing, but it's Ryan Paling's house. Max Domi did one too. And you could tell Paling was uncomfortable in front of the camera. He was pretty much saying scripted lines, and he didn't come across as somebody that was laid back and somebody that was comfortable with the camera in front of him. And some people just are that way. I can completely understand, especially when everywhere you go, you have a camera in your face. Did any of you guys see the Kyle Dubas and Mitch Marner interview today? They did like a side-by-side interview. Did Marner not look super uncomfortable in that video? It was here in Newfoundland, actually, where the interview was too. And the lady who was asking the questions to begin with asked some pretty tough questions. I believe she was from Newfoundland, because we do not hold back down here. And the very first question she asked, and she said it in an abrupt tone, why did it take so long? Why did you keep us hanging this long? Man, Marner looked so uncomfortable. As soon as she said that, he bit his lip. But thankfully for Marner, Dubas is great at talking. Dubas was so comfortable in the interview, looked like he had a good time. And he said to the lady right away, he said, you don't mind coming at me with the hard ones. I like your style. I don't like the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I do like Kyle Dubas' attitude. I'm not going to lie. But he's clearly out of his mind signing 4 players to half his cap. For the long-term years, at least. NHL Hockey News Report says, Paling and Suzuki, Canadiens, question. I do believe so. I believe Paling's a lock to make the team unless somehow he plays himself off the team and looks terrible in the preseason or in camp. And I believe Suzuki might make the team, but the way the positions work out, I don't know if they're going to bring him in to play on the 4th line. Maybe they'll start him in Laval, and I think that kid's so talented. If you start him in Laval, it's going to be undeniable after 20 or 30 games. He deserves to play with the Montreal Canadiens because I have a feeling he'll tear Laval apart, literally. Like, he, in the OHL for the Guelph Storm, in the OHL playoffs, he really showed me what he's capable of this year. Down 3-0 to the London Knights, down 3-1 to Saginaw, and who put the team on their back? Schnarr and Suzuki and Ratcliffe. Especially Suzuki, though. There's a reason why he won the MVP in that tournament. Now, let's get to some more questions. Sports Reviews 91 says, Hawks and Flames are my 2 favorite teams. I don't mind the Habs, though. I like the Calgary Flames a lot myself, and my stepdad is a diehard Blackhawks fan. So I can't say I was raised on the Blackhawks because my dad raised me a Habs fan, but I definitely know my Blackhawks for sure because that's pretty much all me and my stepdad talk about. We go on a fishing trip, we go up to his cabin. 90% of what we talk about, besides him complaining about my mom, is hockey. Not gonna lie. NHL Hockey News Report says Laval won't hurt both of them. Maybe you won't hurt both of them, but I say start Paling in NHL. Just defensively, he's so good defensively, so solid defensively. He's such a good two-way center. I've said it multiple times. I could see this guy being a Selke winner 5 or 6 years down the road. He's so good two ways. He's probably not going to be as good offensively as people make him out to be because he had that hat trick in his debut. Like casual fans that don't know a lot about the kid see him score a hat trick in his debut, seeing how well he played. They're probably thinking he's an offensive dynamo, and then they hear he was the World Junior MVP. But it was only 2018, 2019, or like the end of 2018 and the beginning of 2019 where he really started turning it on offensively. You look at his numbers in the NCAA, offensively, they're not going to blow you away. This year, he was about a point a game pace. I don't know if that will transition to the NHL, but he's one hell of a two-way center. He's a big body. He brings a lot of things the Montreal Canadiens need. Put him in there as a depth center. It could help the team a ton. And I truly believe he deserves to make the team. Like I say, he would have to play himself out of a role and have a horrible preseason. And that's Paling I'm talking about, guys. Josh says, what forward lines are you hoping to see formed this year? Well, I hope the Deneau, Tatar, and Galley line stays together. I did my projected lines on my channel, actually. I kind of changed them a bit after the draft. And I really like Yoel Armia. I think he should slot up into Andrew Shaw's spot on the second line. I think he can produce just as well as Shaw did offensively if he really steps it up. And defensively, in my opinion, he's better than Shaw. He's excellent on the penalty kill. He's probably not as gritty and as feisty as Shaw, but he's just smarter, has a smarter hockey IQ. And God, is that guy hard. That guy is so hard to get off the puck. He's like a one-man army on that penalty kill. He really is. Josh says Laval might be half sick this year. Yeah, they might be. Laval was really sucked last year. They kind of needed it. My concerns aren't with Laval. My concerns are with the Montreal Canadiens. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind seeing Montreal win a Calder Cup. But I remember when Toronto fans were celebrating so much that their team won the Calder Cup, that the Marlies won the Calder Cup. Guys, you got eliminated in the first round. The Maple Leafs got eliminated and embarrassed in the first round. Gardner looked like a joke in Game 7. Like, don't get me wrong. If your team won a round or two and did half decent in the playoffs after having the success they did in the season, but to choke like that in round one and then go and act like your team has the future because they won the Calder Cup, look what happened to the goalie Sparks. Everybody said he was the future in Toronto. They made him the backup the next year. He's already out of Toronto. As far as I know, he probably won't even play in the NHL that much longer. I hope he does. Wish him the best. He's not a Maple Leaf anymore. But look what happened to that guy. And everybody was saying he was the next Frederick Anderson. They let McElhaney go for that guy. And look how good McElhaney was in Carolina. Look how far Carolina got with McElhaney and with Mrazek. Josh Hunt says, I'm not totally heartbroken over Shaw. I like the guy, but I was worried about his future. Yeah, Shaw has a ton of injury issues. He missed at least 20 games for the Habs every season he was there. The first 2 seasons, he was super disappointing. He only averaged, I believe one season he had 20 points, one season he had just over 30, so he only averaged around 30 points in those 2 seasons. And then this season, he was excellent in 67 games, I believe, played. He had like 47 points, 43 points, something like that. Can't remember his totals exactly off the top of my head, but it was around that range. It was a career high for him. Excellent plus minus. His value was high, and the Montreal Canadiens traded him for exactly what they paid for him years ago. They paid, I believe, 2 second-round picks for Shaw years ago, something like that. And one of them ended up turning into the Brinken, but it doesn't mean the Habs would have picked the Brinken. And they got 2 second-round picks back from him, which is excellent value for Andrew Shaw, because the year before that, if you play NHL 19 or NHL 18 the year before that, he's untradeable. You can't trade him in the game, and in real life he would have been hard to trade too. Not because he's a bad player, but because of his cap hit. But Chicago was willing to take that on, and I love Andrew Shaw. I wish him all the best, but the guy's one major concussion away from his NHL career being over and possibly really affecting his life. The guy's had multiple concussion problems, like serious concussion problems. Sports Review 91 says Hunter Shinkaruk is on the Hurricanes. Yeah, Hunter Shinkaruk is on the Hurricanes. Yeah, I know that. I know that Hunter Shinkaruk's on the Hurricanes. He was a Habs prospect before, wasn't he? But yeah, they have a lot of the Hurricanes have a lot of good players. They unfortunately for the Montreal Canadiens got to keep Sebastian Aho, but to me that offer sheet was ridiculous. A player of Aho's caliber, you're only offering him 8.5. Look at what Keller got with 40 something points coming off his ELC. Look at what or the year before coming off his ELC, he got an extension. Look at what Mitch Marner got in the market for 94 points. Canucks to Flames, then Flames to Habs, now to the Hurricanes. Wow, that guy's been bounced around quite a bit. I knew he came from the Flames to the Habs. I never knew that he was a prospect for the Canucks. And now he's gone to the Hurricanes. Like you say, I don't know. I know Hunter Skinner. I know a few of his stats and stuff like that. But I don't know how he's really transitioned into NHL because obviously we didn't see a lot of him in Montreal. Didn't really follow him much in Calgary. And I did not know that he was moved to the Hurricanes. Wow. Was he a free agent or was he traded to the Hurricanes? I'm assuming he must have been a UFA or an RFA that he just let walk because I never heard anything on any trades. And I'm sure MB would have packaged something with a player like that on a trade. Like you say, I never heard anything about Shinakirk myself, but it's great that you know that, and I like to get these little tidbits. Thanks for informing me of that. Because I was kind of confused when you said Shinakirk to the Hurricanes. I was like, I didn't understand it at first, but now I completely get what you're saying. Josh Hunt says you'll probably have a lot to talk about once the season starts. Are you doing any commentary for tomorrow's game? I'll be watching the game. I'm not sure if I'll be able to go live and do commentary on it. I will 100% be reviewing it. But yes, if the game is on and I get the chance to go live because my girlfriend's off tomorrow night, Monday and Thursday nights are our night off together, and she may want me to watch a movie with her, rubber back, all the fun stuff, Don't get to talk about hockey, but I'll be watching the game. But if I can, I'll be going live and I will be commentating. I actually do a pretty good job at commentating. Where does Bob Cole come from? The best hockey commentator in the world. Well, the former best hockey commentator in the world. St. John's, Newfoundland, man, and that's where I'm from. Troll McTrollington says Hurricanes are rumored to be in on Honka as well. How many D-men do they need in their system? I'm sure they are just trolling the Habs. The Hurricanes, in my opinion, yes, they have a lot of good defensemen. They have excellent young players up front. They did just lose Justin Williams, their on-ice leader, who's an effective player, can score 15 to 20 goals for you. And they lost Curtis McElhaney. The load is going to be on Mrazek this year. They could turn into a Florida this year. They could have an excellent team, excellent defense, doing everything right up front, scoring a bunch of goals, and the goalie just bombs every night. Because can you really have trust in Mrazek in an 82-game season without McElhaney there to shoulder the load like he did and play really, really well? I don't know. Hurricanes just scraped in last year. There's no guarantee they're locked to make the playoffs. And they brought in Jake Gardner, but they're moving out Justin Falk from everything I've heard. And Justin Falk's better than Jake Gardner, if you ask me. Excuse me, guys. I have to take a drink. Troll McTrollington, I 100% agree with you when you say Bob Cole is the GOAT. And I was so happy to watch his last game and review it. It made me absolutely pumped. I know the Habs didn't make the playoffs, but it was one of my favorite reviews of the year last year, actually. I was so pumped. And I gave Bob Cole a huge shout out and talked a little bit about his history. Glenn McInnes says, I can't see the Stars taking only Hudon for Honka. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Like, Hudon's already shown he is a good player. He scored 20 goals in 2017, 2018 on a shit team and had 30 points. But he really regressed last year, and he can't seem to fit into Montreal's, even the depth roles. He can't seem to get those right now. Hudon, I don't want to say he's not going to be a good, effective NHL player anymore. That guy could get traded and do well. But Honka, we really haven't seen what this kid's capable of. It could have just been a bad fit in Dallas. He wasn't always healthy. He was a former sixth overall pick in a sick draft. And the guy still has potential for sure. He's like a Paul Yarvi. The jury's still out on Honka. Well, when it comes to Hudon, people have already pretty much made up their mind, seen what they need to see, but the jury is still out on Honka. So I agree with you there 100%. But I do see Charles Hudon in a pick being enough. If you sent Charles Hudon, and maybe the highest you'd have to go is a third-round pick, because I think you could probably get Honka for a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick. So Charles Hudon's worth a fifth-round pick in my opinion. So maybe a third-round pick in Charles Hudon, or a fifth-round pick, and if you're super lucky, a lower pick, seventh round, but it would have to be something packaged with Hudon, or a very, very low-tier prospect. Um, Josh Hunt says Newfoundlanders are made to comment on stuff. Yeah, we are though. Did you guys see all the Toronto Maple Leafs interviews? They actually got screeched in here in Newfoundland too. But there's a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs like individual player interviews from Newfoundland. Austin Matthews had a good quote too because in Newfoundland, getting screeched in involves drinking a drink of screech and kissing a cod. And Austin Matthews and four other players had to kiss the cod. And Austin Matthews says, I had a good idea. I made sure I went first to kiss the cod, so I didn't have to get the sloppy seconds of it. And I actually died when he said that. Such a thing a Newfoundlander would say. He's obviously not from Newfoundland, but I'm sure he related to a lot of Newfies with that line. The Mitch Marner Kyle Dubas interview was so uncomfortable, guys. If you Kyle Dubas, like I say, he looked comfortable, he was in control, but Marner on the side of him just made the interview so awkward because he kept biting his lip, biting his lip. Every time somebody would ask him a question, he had this weird smirk on his face, and he just gave the stereotypical answer. He so did not want to be there. You could see he so didn't. He obviously wanted to be at camp. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he didn't want to be at camp, but he so did not want to be doing that interview. It was one of the most awkward interviews I've ever seen. I think the only interview as awkward as that I've seen this year was the Matthew Tkachuk interview with, I believe it was his coach or GM a couple of years ago, where he had to stand beside him. He was there biting his lip with his head down, looked like a kid getting scolded. And the coach, I believe it was the coach, was just tearing into him, like talking about him, being like, we can't have players acting like that. It was so good. If you like cringe, it was good. Troll McTrollington says Gardner is a turnover machine. He is I don't know. He's kind of underrated. People do give him a lot of shit because of his playoff performances, but overall, if you actually watch Leafs games, he's one of their more solid defenders. He's a high risk, high reward type player. Yes, in certain situations, he makes some bonehead plays, and when he does make a bonehead play, it's usually a high risk play that really stands out and almost always hurts the Leafs. But man, the guy puts up if he plays 82 games, he's almost guaranteed 15, 20 power play points per year. He's scored over. If you averaged out what he could get, I believe he's around a 45 point defenseman, but he's had over 50 before. So offensively, he's gifted. Skating wise, he's gifted. The back injury could be an issue. At $4 million, I believe he's a steal. But the fact that the Hurricanes are moving Justin, potentially, they've already made a trade to Anaheim. He just has to okay it. He's already been traded to Anaheim. He just has to okay it because Anaheim's on his no trade list. But they're trading Justin Falk. Like, it seems like no matter what, they're going to be trading Justin Falk. To bring in Jake Gardner and lose Justin Falk is not an upgrade. It is not an upgrade. You need to check Justin Falk's stats out. You need to check his game out if you don't know who the guy is. He is better than Jake Gardner, in my opinion. There's debate about that, I guess, but I would rather have Falk on my blue line any day than Jake Gardner. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I personally would rather have Falk. Troll McTrollington says racks. Oh, we talking about Gardner racks up points, though. I didn't see that part. Yeah, that's the part. That's the point I just made. But yeah, you agree with me clearly. Watches MB blows our minds and trades for Laine. It wouldn't shock me, to be honest. Who's seen him trading Galchenyuk for Domi? Well, who's seen him trading Pacioretty for what he did? When I knew Pacioretty was getting traded, the last return I thought we were going to see was Thomas Tatar and a great young player like Nick Suzuki and a pick. I thought it was going to be like 1-for-1 for like another good goal scorer. Maybe you trade Max Pacioretty and you put like a second round pick with him and you get Matt Duchene back the other way or something like that. I don't know, something. I thought it was going to be like a 1-for-1, like Patches would go out and there'd be probably not exactly a 1-for-1, Patches and a pick for like a really good player that could potentially score you 30 goals and puts up more points than Patches. I didn't see him doing a deal where they brought in Tatar, and when Tatar got brought in, everybody was calling him a throw-in. The dude had 20 goals every year, was amazing in Detroit. Next to Gustav Nyquist when he was there, Tatar was my favorite player in Detroit. One of the most hard-working players out there. Obviously, he wasn't a good fit in Vegas. He came in when they were already gelled, when they were already on their run. It was a bad move acquiring him at the deadline, clearly. But man, the way people were talking about Tatar like he was a throw-in, I knew he was going to be good in Montreal. I didn't think he was going to put up as many points as he did, but I almost guaranteed everybody I argued with he was going to score 20 goals at least. Had many arguments, many debates with friends about Tatar, and none of them even mentioned Nick Suzuki. Like, a lot of my friends, when they talk about the Habs, they don't know a ton about prospects like I do, and they were focusing on Tatar. They were like, your team got ripped off so bad. They got Thomas Tatar and some dude and a pick for a 30-goal scorer. I was like, man, Nick Suzuki's like a future 70 to 80 point player. Tatar's going to score 20 a year for Montreal. Look how good he was. He put up more points than Patches. And we got a second round pick, which I believe turned into Jaden Struble this year. So, MB absolutely fleeced Vegas. Well, so far fleeced Vegas on that trade. Patches, for all we know, could come out and have a great year. And I wish him the best. Joe, what's up, Joe? Joe says hi there. How's it going, bud? Thanks for joining the stream. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Go Habs Go says, the longer Connor/Laine go unsigned, the more I think one of them is going to be traded. It's not just Connor and Laine out there, though. What about Matthew Tkachuk? What about Braden Point? What about Mikko Rantanen? I've heard Rantanen's having some issues with Colorado. Like Rantanen, if there was a guy I would love to see on Montreal, I would absolutely be, depending on what the cost is, you'd have to give up a good prospect going back the other way. But I would be so happy if Mikko Rantanen got acquired by the Montreal Canadiens. It's not a rumor. Nobody's been talking about it. I'm not saying it's ever going to happen. But it would be so good. Man, that guy's amazing. Size, speed, skill, over a point a game player. And it's not McKinnon making him look good. Rantanen is that good. I keep the faith. Thanks for joining the stream. I really like Brock Besser, too. Yes, she says, is Bergevin looking at Brock Besser? I really, really hope he is. There's issues with Besser, and he'd be a cheaper player who could potentially be a 30 or 40 goal scorer in Montreal. I had to take a drink, guys. I'm getting really parched here. Oh, sorry, Joe. I missed your question. Who do you think would make a good acquisition for us? Mid-season or at the deadline? Personally, I think Ryan Donato would make for an interesting pickup. I agree with you there. You know somebody who I would like to see the Montreal Canadiens go after this offseason, and this year, if they could get him, I hope the Islanders struggle and they need to trade the guy. Nick Leddy. I would love to see Nick Leddy in Montreal. Yes, he's an older player. He's a bit of a higher cap hit, but that guy is good on the power play. He's good defensively. He would be a leader on the blue line. He would so strengthen the Habs top four. You'd have Weber, Leddy, Sherratt, and Petrie in your top four. Mete would have to get slotted down, but man, oh man, I'd love to see the Habs go after Nick Leddy. There's other players I like too, like Kyle Palmieri. I don't think they'd ever get Kyle Palmieri, but I would love to see him join the Habs. That's just basically talking fantasy, but a realistic player that they could trade for is Nick Leddy, because I'm sure with the right offer, the Islanders would give him up. Some people may not agree with that. Some people are fans of the guy. Some people aren't fans of the guy. I'm a big fan of the guy. Johnny B says preseason, but Patches had 4 points tonight, so he may turn it all around this year. Still love the trade though, regardless. Yeah, I still love the trade regardless too. I never knew Patches had 4 points in the preseason for the Vegas Golden Knights, but Xavier Ouellet had 3 points in a game last year for the Habs in the preseason, so you can't really base much. And it's not the preseason yet. Actually, it's well, maybe the preseason has started for Vegas. I'm not sure what their schedule is, but the Habs preseason hasn't started yet. It doesn't start till tomorrow. But yeah, for 4 points for Max Pacioretty in the preseason, that's great. Doesn't mean it will transition into the season, but I expect him to have a better season. I do expect him to have a better season if he plays the full 82 games. Playing with players like Mark Stone and who else does Vegas have? Paul Stastny at that lineup. Like, man, Patches could easily, for the first time in his career, hit 40 goals. And he's come super close in Montreal. I'll never forget when he scored 39 goals, and he still had like 3 games left. And I was dying for him to get that 40th goal so I could say we had a 40-goal scorer. And I was watching night in and night out because I had friends that were like Detroit fans when Detroit was really good and stuff like that. And I really wanted this guy to score 40 goals, and he just couldn't do it. He couldn't reach 40 goals. Very close many times though. Joe says, do we know who's playing tomorrow? I do not know. I don't believe they released the lines yet who's playing tomorrow. I'm assuming not all the good roster players are playing tomorrow. First game of the preseason, I don't know if they'll have Carey Price starting the game. Maybe they'll put Keith Kincaid and Caden Primier in net. And I would assume players like Brook, Paling, Suzuki, guys like that are going to get shots. They'll probably have Paul Barn playing, guys like that. I don't think they're going to play a Pollard or Stars in the first preseason game. From what I've heard, Victor Mete and Shea Weber are gelling really well again too. The dangle I seen from Jonathan Drouin today was a beautiful dangle. I posted it on my Twitter page. If you don't have me on Twitter, check out Scotty2Hockey on Twitter, at Mr. Hockey Fan, or at Hockey Fan Mister is how it comes up, but that I meant to write Mr. Hockey Fan. Sorry guys, hit my mic. Apparently, Ryan P will be out tomorrow, from what I heard. Not sure why. I don't think it's an injury or anything like that. It's probably just the way Juliana has the lineups. Maybe he's not going to play Paling in every game of the preseason. One thing that has concerned me, I haven't heard anything on the guy. I know he didn't play last night, but Noah Jolson couldn't attend training camp. Couldn't attend the first day of training camp. Couldn't hit the ice because he's having headache issues, and I'm hoping that's not stemming from his eye injury, because his eye injury was like a nerve injury. He had some kind of nerve damage in his eye, and anybody who knows anything about sight problems, eye injuries, and stuff like that, and nerve damage, headaches is a big symptom with that stuff. And I'm just hoping, really, really hoping that Jolson isn't like long term affected by that injury, because he did have a brutal injury. And the crazy thing was, 3 games after Jolson got smoked in the face with that puck, Shea Weber got smoked in the face with a puck and was supposedly supposed to miss some time. Ended up coming back the next game, playing in the Detroit game. I think he did have a cage on, if I'm not mistaken, and had 2 points, had a goal and assist. So shows how much of a beast Shea Weber is to take a shot like that in the face too. Johnny B says, not a concussion or anything serious like that. I say, yeah, it's probably not a concussion or anything like that. Maybe he strained something. Maybe he has some kind of issue like that. But I don't say it's anything serious with Paling. If it was anything serious with Paling, the media would be all over it. Joe, I heard Boston wanted to trade away some players to free some cap. Rumor is that Halak is one of those guys. Would you like to have him back in Montreal? Personally, I would love to have him back. Yeah, you'd have to pay too much to bring in Halak. I think Kincaid's going to be a solid backup, and Halak's the type of goalie he's going to want to get a lot more starts. I don't think he would want to come to Montreal, to be honest, anymore. Yes, he did play well in Montreal, but no matter what, Halak's a good goalie. He could arguably be a starter. He was really good in the regular season last year for Boston. He could, on a lot of teams, he would be a starter, and in Montreal, he'd get limited starts. I don't think it's the role for Halak. I think you'd have to pay him too much money. You'd have to pay too much to acquire him. What if he was cheap and you didn't have to pay a ton for him? Would love to see him in Montreal. Very happy that the Habs stuck with Carey Price, obviously, but I don't think that the Habs would go after Halak. Johnny B says, no, I meant for Noah headaches, just a precaution. Yeah, I don't think it's a concussion or anything like that either, Johnny B. Like I say, I don't think it's a concussion. I don't think it's anything serious. It could be serious, though, because it could be stemming from his eye injury. These headaches could be stemming from his eye injury. This could be an ongoing thing that he was hoping got better by camp, that he was doing everything he could to clear up. Because they're not going to talk a lot about headaches, but man, it's really weird. The guy hasn't played in 7 months. He obviously wants to hit the ice. His contract's up this year. They want to get as much playing time out of that kid as they can if he's ready to go. And for him not to be able to start like that the very first day he's already out, it's kind of strange. And somebody else was out too. Carl Osner's out with it. I know it's not a big of a deal, nowhere near as big of a deal as Jolson at this point for Osner in his career, but he's out with a groin injury too. I hope he cracks the lineup too. Johnny B says, hope not. I hope he cracks the lineup. I 100% hope he cracks the lineup too. I was talking about it yesterday, and people were saying, who do you think is going to be the third pairing right-handed defenseman? And like I said, if there was a gun to my head and I had to pick, Noah Jolson. Behind him, Cale Fleury, and behind him, Josh Brook. And last but not least, Christian Folin. But Christian Folin was effective for the Habs the last 19 games of the year last year. But man, look at these young kids we got. How can you stick a guy like Folin in there over these young dynamos? Give each one of them a shot if you got to. Troll McTrollington says Ryan P isn't injured, just sitting out as a players do during the preseason. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't think he's injured either. He's going to play certain games. Suzuki will play certain games. It's very rare for a player to play every game of the preseason unless you really want to see something from that particular player. Devin Burke, what's up, Devin Burke? He's a guy I have on Twitter. I've done a few videos where I've had Devin's comment in my video. Thanks for joining the stream, Devin. He said he was going to join the stream, and of course he's here. He says, we got Premu, Lindgren, McNiven, and Lecouve for the AHL. Do you think a trade is coming. I don't think a goalie trade is coming. Maybe one of those guys are going to end up playing somewhere else. They're not going to. Maybe they could get traded, but a trade that I think is going to happen, especially after listing out the training camp roster. I think one of these centers is going to have to get moved, or Charles Hudon is going to have to get moved. But if you look at the Habs training camp roster, out of all their forwards, the majority of them are centers. They have like 12 centers in their forwards on their roster. It's insane how many. It's night and day from what it was last year. Last year, the cupboards were bare. Everybody was talking about how they didn't have center depth. Deneau was considered their best center. Everybody was wondering what they were going to get from Max Domi playing center. Nobody knew Jesperi Kotkaniemi was going to be as good as he was. And Matthew Pekka was supposed to be slotted as a center too. He was supposed to come in and play the fourth or third line. And now look at the center depth the Montreal Canadiens have. Jake Evans could be ready to go this year finally. He's had 4 years in Laval, tons of development in Laval. They obviously have KK. He's eventually going to get slotted up and be on that second line. They have Palin coming in, who I think is eventually going to be the third line center. Suzuki's a center, although I think he will transition into the NHL as a winger. And of course, then there's Domi and Deneau, and other depth centers like Thompson, Wheel, Cousins. It's unbelievable. Well, I believe Wheel will be a winger for the Habs too. He looked really good in his short time last year. Good question though. Generic NHL meme says, "Oh, Devin, why do you have 300K subs?" Devin has 300K subs? Whoa, that's crazy. 300K subs. If you got 300K subs, good for you, man. That's awesome. I wish I had 10% of your subscribers, because if I'd have 30,000 subscribers. Troll McTrollington says, trade Alzner for a skate and a lace. Unfortunately, no team will pay a skate and a lace because he was put on waivers and nobody wanted him. I don't think you're getting anything. I don't think you're getting a half-eaten hot dog, a bottom of a beer. I don't think you're getting nothing for Alzner. No one will even take him. You would have to pay the team to not even look at Alzner because they wouldn't even want to do it. I don't even know how to explain that. Nobody wants that guy. And I'm not hating on Carl Alzner, but it's just clear he doesn't have the wheels to play in the NHL anymore. What's up, Matt from the Simbin? My friend Matt from the Simbin. We did a Ultimate Habs preview last week on his channel, and we did 2 live streams of the what live streams did we do? The rookie tournament. We did 2 live streams of the rookie tournament. So check out the Simbin's channel and subscribe. He's working his way up there. He's almost catching me in subscribers. I wish he had a quarter of what Devin has too. Oh, I don't think I got any. Devin Burke says that was just generic NHL memes, just joking with him, I guess. When you said Devin had 300K subs, I was like, why is he doing on my live stream? Like, why would he waste his time watching my live stream if he has 300K subs? But if you're a diehard Habs fan, I could see why. But yeah, that kind of confused me. I was like, 300K subs? The hockey guy doesn't even have that. That's crazy. But yeah, shout out Matt from the Simbin. Thanks for joining the live stream. Matt, really appreciate it. We're up to 47 minutes and 24 seconds here, guys. I'm going to go for 1 hour. Unfortunately, I would like to go longer, but unfortunately, my wife gets off work soon. I may drag it out an extra 10 or 15 minutes. I may go until she comes in the door. But if she comes in the door, I'm going to have to end the stream because she's not into the hockey when she just got off work. Unfortunately, I don't get what I don't get my long-term fiance, I should say. We're not technically married. We should have been married long ago. I call her my wife all the time, but we've been engaged for forever, guys. What can I say? I shit the bed on that one, but yeah, she likes UFC, but she won't watch hockey with me for the life of her. I guess it's because of how hype I get, and she doesn't understand all the technical terms, and when I'm watching hockey, I'm like, oh, they're down low. Oh, he's taking it off the half wall. Beautiful play, beautiful cross-ice pass, and she's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's combing her hair. The last thing on her mind is hockey. Anyways, I'll get back to the hockey talk, guys. Johnny B says, surprised Weiss is still on the team, but imagine after camp they may have to waive a few guys. The reason why Weiss is on the team, and actually I believe it was Matt from the Simbin who pointed this out to me a couple days ago when we were doing a stream, Schlemko got traded for Weiss. Schlemko was involved in the Weiss trade, so it was basically a bad contract for a bad contract, and I think something came back with, it was Folin. Folin came back with Weiss for something else too, for like a pick. So Montreal did all right on that trade. They got rid of David Schlemko, who's not effective, obviously. Dale Weiss is obviously not effective. Both of those guys are pretty similar cap hits, and we got Folin out of it. Folin is effective. He's a good third-pairing right-handed defenseman and has a good shot at playing this year in Montreal. Devin Burt's, Devin Burt, I don't got any. He's still talking about subs. Yeah, hopefully you got a few, Devin. If you got any videos, man, I'll check you out and subscribe to your channel. Troll McTrollington says, "Who's your favorite Hab of all time, Scotty?" In case you could not tell by my YouTube channel picture, it's Carey Price. If I was talking forwards, players, like not the goalie, it may surprise people to say, but it's Michael Ryder, because I'm from St. John's, Newfoundland, and when he came into the Habs as a rookie, put up like, I believe he put up 30 goals, or really, really close to 30 goals in his rookie season. He was amazing in his rookie season. To have a guy from Newfoundland, a guy from Bonavista, Newfoundland, playing for my favorite team when I was like 18, I believe I was only 16 or 17 at the time, when I'm only 16 or 17, and get to watch him on the Montreal Canadiens, be a pivotal part of the team, score that many goals, be an excellent player. Michael Ryder is my favorite Hab of all time. And I hated seeing him go to Boston and win a cup, but he had a bit of karma, because when he came back to Montreal, when he came back to St. John's, Newfoundland with the cup, he dropped the cup on the ground and put a dent in it. So how many players have done that? Obviously, the dent isn't still in it. They must have hammered it out or did something. But Ryder, literally in front of all the news, in front of all the media, holding the cup up, celebrating, "Woo, go Newfoundland, I won a Stanley Cup." Like the dumbass he is, I think it was the Boston Bruins jersey hurting his eyes, dropped the cup and dented it. Great question, though, Troll. Thank you. I would assume he's one of your favorite players, too. You said you're from Bonavista. You have to be a Riders fan. I could understand if you're not, but man, you're from Bonavista. I can see you being a Riders fan for sure. I got Riders picturing on my wall. If you see my reviews, Ryder, that little toy that's up in the corner, that little Habs plastic figurine, that's Michael Ryder. Johnny B says, "Hey, Matt." And the Simbin says, "Hey, Johnny, how are you, buddy? How's it going, guys?" Troll McTrollington says, "I went to school with Mike Ryder." That's absolutely awesome. He seems like a great guy. Seems like a quiet guy, laid back guy, kind of keeps to himself, kind of reserved. I've seen Ryder in person a few times myself. Obviously didn't have a big conversation with the guy. Got his autograph, stuff like that when I was a kid. I seen him when he came back to Newfoundland with the cup too. Not up close and personal, never had a chat with him. I just seen him. But he seems like a laid back, calm, keeps to himself kind of guy. I would have loved to have stories to tell going to school with an NHL player like that. Maybe a few guys I went to school with. One day we'll break into the NHL, who knows? But Ryder's awesome. Was awesome until he went to Boston. Troll McTrollington says, "My favorite Hab is Patrick Waugh, followed closely by Knuckles and Lyle Odeline." Yeah, I hear you. I'm assuming you're a bit of an older fan than me, so like you're that generation. Those would be your guys. Like you say, you're big like me on the goalies. Clearly, you're big like me. And a lot of Newfoundlanders are big on goalies. I don't know what it is. Carey Price is hands down my favorite Hab of all time. But as far as forwards, skaters, guys who scored goals for the Habs, it's hands down Michael Ryder. Which is strange to some people, but when you realize I'm from Newfoundland, you can probably understand why. Because there's clearly greater Habs than him. Glenn McKinnon says, "I'm still in therapy over John LeClaire." Man, you got to let that go, Glenn. It's been a while since LeClaire, buddy. I hear you, though. Johnny P says, "Last game was at the Bell Center. I bought a charity puck that wraps, so you have no idea who you get it. And I got Weiss, and he was traded that morning. I was so pissed off." Oh, so you got a puck at the game. It was like a charity puck that's wrapped up, and you have no idea what player you're going to get on it. And it was Dale Weiss, and he got traded that morning. Sounds similar to Matt from the Simbin story, where he bought a PK Subban jersey, and literally like a couple weeks later, Subban got traded. Sorry, guys. If you're going to buy a Habs jersey this year, don't buy a Jonathan Drouin jersey. Potentially he could get traded. And if you're stupid enough to do it, don't buy a Charles Hudon jersey, please. Buy a Sperry Kotkaniemi jersey. Or Carey Price. Devin Burt says, "I got Domi in mine." LOL. Oh, you got Domi in your charity puck. Lucky you, Devin Burt. Asher, I was like, welcome to the live stream, Asher. What made me become a Habs fan? I've spoke about this before, but clearly you're just tuning in the channel, so I'll tell you about it. My father is a diehard Montreal Canadiens fan. My grandfather is a diehard Boston Bruins fan. And my dad used to always bring me over to my grandfather's house when the Habs and the Bruins were playing. And I'd be my dad. I was maybe 4 years old, 5 years old, I'd be my dad's little cheerleader. Go Habs, go! He's filling me in on all kinds of hockey names, his player names, to say if Montreal would score a goal, my dad would have me do a little dance around the room, stuff like that. And eventually, when I was a kid, I was just doing it for fun. But eventually, when I got like 5, 6 years old, started understanding the concept of the game, I really, really fell in love with hockey. And when I was a kid, I loved Wayne Gretzky. I was a hardcore Habs fan. But Wayne Gretzky had me hooked on hockey. Anything Wayne Gretzky. There was a while when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money growing up that we didn't have cable. And whenever Hockey Night in Canada came on, if Gretzky was playing on a Saturday night, they'd almost always have a game with Gretzky in it, even when he was in LA, even when he was in New York, especially when he was in New York, because that's the most of what I've seen of Gretzky. But man, oh man, he made me really, really love hockey, and the Montreal Canadiens rubbed off on me so much from going watching when I was a kid with my dad. I really liked Patrick Waugh as well. He's another player who really influenced me. Unfortunately, he went to Colorado, but that's how I became a diehard Habs fan. Just growing up watching games with my dad. Simbin says, favorite player not on the Habs except for Crosby or McDavid. My favorite player not on the Montreal Canadiens except for Crosby or McDavid. May surprise some people. I'm a big Alexander Ovechkin fan. I love the goal scorers. I love his attitude. I was so happy to see him win a cup. I know he's Washington. You can't exactly call him a rival because they're not in the same division as Montreal, but I am a big Ovi fan. I know the Habs and Caps have had their series. In 2010, the Habs eliminated the Capitals in the first round when they were like one of the best teams in the league. And Washington, I believe, in the Ovi era, has eliminated Montreal or had some pretty good playoff series against them. So some people may consider Washington a rival, Ovi a rival of the Habs, but Ovi is hands down my favorite player outside of the Montreal Canadiens. How can you not like a guy who's going to win the Rocket Richard every other year? And feel free to tell me yours, guys. I have no problem reading it out either. The Simbin. I went to high school with Noah Dobson. First round pick for the Islanders. Yeah, Noah Dobson's awesome. Noah Dobson is, I'm thinking about the same player. He's a really good young prospect. That's great. Troll McTrollington says, or Matt, that's Matt said that. That's great, Matt. He's a cheapskate, though. Tried to sneak a 6-pack of beer in the beer tent at the Puffin Festival. LOL, a millionaire, right? He got caught by security. You're talking about Ryder. That's not even a cheapskate move. That's just a newfie move. Trying to sneak a case of beer in the beer tent. That's just a newfie move, man. That's just smart. You're looking at beers that are $6 each, and you can bring in a case of 12 of them that you pay $20 for. Do the math, man. Millionaire or not, you're saving a pretty penny there. That's a newfie move, bud. I knew you were talking about Ryder soon. Just said it, man. That's awesome. Aaron, welcome to the live stream, Aaron. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, please. But welcome to the live stream, friend. Do you think Suzuki will make the team? He looked good today. I said I think Paling's a lock. I think Suzuki will play his way onto the team. I think if I had to make percentages, 70% chance he makes the team in his starting lineup. He's there on opening night and he's playing for the Habs. But 100% chance if he goes to Laval, he eventually plays his way into this lineup because he's too good not to get called up. Even after like 20 or 30 games. Suzuki's a beast. If you watch my top prospect videos, my number one ranked prospect, it isn't Cole Caulfield. Surprisingly to some people, it's Nick Suzuki. I have to take a sip of my drink, guys, in case you can't tell my voice is getting a little bit hoarse here. Thanks, Asher. I really appreciate it. Asher says, good to hear. Love the channel. Keep it up. Thanks a lot, my friend. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the question. It gave me something really good to talk about. Johnny B says, McDavid is from my town and highly ranked Quinton Byfield, who will be a beast. Yeah, well, you got the best NHL player in the... Quinton Byfield may be a beast, but you have the best NHL player in the world repping your town. So that's something to be proud of for sure. That's something to be very proud of. Don't care what anybody says. I like Nikita Kucherov. I've heard a few people make arguments Nikita Kucherov is now better than Connor McDavid. Stick Connor McDavid on Tampa, he would blow the doors off the NHL. He'd have 140 points, hands down. On the low end, he'd have 140 points if he played on Tampa. And Kucherov had 120. And you stick McDavid with that kind of offense, the kid's a beast. My favorite player to watch in the league right now, he's not my favorite overall, but my favorite to watch, he destroys my Habs when he plays him, is McDavid. But he's not my favorite outside of Montreal. Ovi is. Aaron says, for sure a Newfie move. Newfie myself. We got a few Newfies in here tonight, Aaron. Troll McTrollington's a Newfie. My friend Joshua, I don't know if Josh is still in the live stream. My friend Joshua Hunt is a Newfie, and I'm a Newfie. So we have four Newfies here tonight. At 3 or 4 Newfies at least. I'm not the best at math, guys. I may have screwed that one up. Troll McTrollington says, Josh Brooks stood out to me today. Yeah, a lot of people. He stood out to a lot of people. We're up to 59 minutes and 29 seconds. I'm going to go for another 10 minutes, guys, and then I'm going to have to close the stream. But, yes, Josh Brooks stood out to a lot of people. You go on Google, you type in Montreal Canadiens news. Actually, the very first story that pops up, Josh Brooks stands out at camp, has a really good chance of being a right-handed defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens this year. Isn't that exact headline, but it's something along those lines. Jordan Quinzel says, it's canal like with water. When will Caulfield play for the Habs? Caulfield, in my opinion, if he plays as good as I think he's going to in Wisconsin this year, he should be playing for the Habs. Maybe they'll give him another year of development, but if I had to put my money on it, we will see Cole Caulfield in Montreal next year. Eric Belmar says, screech in that Pepsi? Nope, no screech in that Pepsi, bud. I'm good on the screech. If there was going to be anything in it, it would probably be Captain Morgan Spice Rum. I know from Newfoundland I should love the screech, but screech is kind of gross. I'm not going to lie. I don't need to be screeching. I'm already an official Newfoundlander, so I don't got to drink it. But I should be. I should be repping it. Not a very good advertisement for screech here, I guess. Eric Belmar says, KK looking bigger. Nice. Yeah, he has an extra 10 pounds of muscle on. Like you say, he was 18 last year, the youngest player in the NHL, the first player born in the 2000s to ever play in an NHL game, to ever play in the NHL. He's going to grow up before our eyes. He's going to become a man quickly, especially with how mature he is. Like I said earlier in the stream, you probably already missed it, but I believe in a couple of years, wouldn't shock me if we've seen KK with a full-on beard, man. Because he's just coming out of puberty. Literally, he went through puberty. He's just becoming a man now. I know, I went through it. Johnny B says, exactly. I'm sure he's talking about the screech or something, or what I said. Joshua Hunt says, still here by Newfies represent. Yeah, you know. And Devin's still here. Another Newfie. Yeah, Devin's still here too. Devin Burt. He's another guy from Newfoundland. Got all the Newfoundlanders here tonight. The last 3 comments are from Newfoundlanders. So represent. Good to see there's a lot of diehard fans here in Newfoundland. You'd think there would be a lot more Maple Leafs fans than Habs fans, where we had the St. John's Maple Leafs for so long. The AHL affiliate of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sure there were a lot of dads brought their kids to games and they were raised on St. John's Maple Leafs games, which probably transitioned him into becoming a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Not this guy. Diehard Habs fan till I die. Okay, guys, I'm going to do 3 more questions, so if you want to get your questions in, get them in. I'll answer the last 3 questions I can, because the wife is home and it's time to go watch a movie. Troll McTrollington, ever liked any Leafs? I always hated them, but I admit I liked Gilmore, Clark, Anderson, and Kachuk. I actually kind of said it earlier. I didn't say 100% I did, but I like Austin Matthews a lot. I think Austin Matthews is an undeniably great NHL player. The best 5-on-5 scorer in the league in the past 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Best shot in the league currently right now as far as zip and power on his shot. Amazing skater, amazing center, deserves way more money than Mitch Marner, in my opinion, deserves the contract he got. And if he can stay healthy, is a dynamic player who could easily put up 100 points. I know he's a Habs killer, but when he's not playing the Habs, man, Matthews is a fun player to watch, and I like his attitude. Breakout candidates on the Habs. My number 1 breakout candidate on the Habs, I did a top 3 breakout players for the Montreal Canadiens. I've kind of rethought it a little bit. My number, I said it on the Simbins podcast. If you missed it, go to the Simbins channel, check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to his channel. Matt from the Simbin got a great channel. But my breakout player for the Montreal Canadiens this year, I believe Talking Habs with Rick, he had a few. The Simbin picked the obvious Drouin, and I had Arturi Lehkonen. I think if Arturi Lehkonen could get his finishing ability better, his shooting accuracy better, that guy's a potential 20-goal scorer. How many plays did he have a wide-open breakaway on last year and not score on, get stuffed by the goalie? How many times in front of the net did he have a good tip-in that got stopped by the goalie? I don't know if it's just bad puck luck or he just doesn't have the best accuracy in the world, but if he can get his finishing ability just 10% better, 5% better, that guy could have 50 points, 20 goals this year. I would not be shocked. Jordan Quinzel says, what do you think the Habs need to improve, PP or PK? Claude never really got into. Oh, 100% the power play. The penalty kill last year was pretty solid. I believe it was just above 80%, around floating around 80%, either just below or just above. But the power play was atrocious. The Habs had one of the worst. They had the second worst power play in the league actually last year. So that's been a big debate this year about the Montreal Canadiens. If they had a better power play last year, even if they were clicking at 15%, in my opinion, they would have made the playoffs. So 100% the answer to that question is they really need to bolster their power play. They need somebody who can bury the puck on the power play. They have too many playmakers. Okay, I'll get to your last questions here, guys. I keep the faith, and thank you for the kind words last night. I keep the faith. I keep faith, excuse me. Paling and Suzuki, opening game onward. CC in April, Cole Caulfield in April 2020 with an exclamation mark. Great comment, and I agree, man. I agree, my dear, or man, whichever one it is. I keep faith. I don't know if that's a woman or a guy. Kind of, but yeah, I believe you. I'm assuming it's a guy. Could be either or. If there's women or men on this channel, sometimes subscriber names kind of throw me off. Like I'll say I'll talk to you like you're a woman because of your name, or I'll talk to you like you're a guy when it's actually a girl. I've actually had that happen before to me. I was talking to somebody on a live stream, and I was like, whatever, man, whatever, dude. And she was like, man, I'm a 20-year-old woman. Sorry, didn't realize you were a diehard like me, but there's nothing wrong with that. Troll McTrollington says, Lehkonen cement hands. Yeah, that's the thing with Lehkonen, man. He's an excellent player. The feet are far from cement feet. And on the penalty kill, he's a great player. Very, very solid defensively. One of the most underrated players on the team defensively, in my opinion. And he's a high-energy player, but just, like you say, cement hands, man. Just can't let that stick go in front of the net. Just can't seem to find the right areas. He like tightens up, I guess, in front of the goalie, or when he gets a scoring chance. Too much pressure on the guy. But he is a spark plug for the Habs, and he's my breakout player this year. I could be wrong, but that's who I think is going to break out for the Habs this year. I don't think he's going to break out and lead the team in points, but as far as what was expected of him, I think he's going to really fulfill a lot of fans' expectations and go way beyond him this year. Matt Kelly, one of my best... excuse me, Aaron. I didn't mean to skip your question. Lecky would have had at least 30 goals last year if he would have buried them. My point exactly, and I 100% agree with you, Aaron. Matt Kelly, great job, Scott. Can't wait for the season to start. Hopefully some of the young guns can make the team. Thank you very much, Matt Kelly. I appreciate it. One of my best subscribers. Comments on almost every video. A lot of new feeds in here tonight. And what was the question? Hopefully a lot of young guns make the team. Yeah, hopefully a lot of young guns do make the team. Not too many. You don't want it to end up turning into a development season. But like somebody like Fleury or Brook on the right side of the defense, really, really top-tier prospects like Suzuki or Paling, or maybe even bringing Otto Leskinen in. If Brett Kulak starts struggling this year, or Ben Sherratt by some miracle doesn't work out, a good young left-handed defenseman that I believe is underrated in the Habs system this year and is very good on the power play, was very good in Sweden if I'm not mistaken, is Otto Leskinen. Check that kid out. Check his prospect reports out. Check his highlights out. Phenomenal skater, phenomenal young player, will be a Montreal Canadien in the coming years, in my opinion, especially with the lack of depth we have in prospects on the left side. Romanoff, and outside of Romanoff, it's Leskinen. Troll McTrollington, good job, man. Talk later. Thank you very much. Jordan Quincell says, agree about the playmakers. Need more finishers. It's like passengers on the ice. Thank you and good night. Man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And like I say, 100% agree with you. I got into this last night. Too many playmakers, only one pure goal scorer on the team, and he's really good, but he's only got 30 to 40 goal potential. He's not like a 50-goal Leon Draisaitl type pure goal scorer, Austin Matthews type pure goal scorer, or Brock Besser is another good comparison to those guys. He's a 30-goal scorer, Brendan Gallagher, and he's awesome. So, and Josh Hunt says, wicked stream again, man. I'll catch your next one. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. Newfoundland Standard Time, guys. And Aaron says later on, boss, shout out to everybody who joined the stream. I really appreciate it. If you haven't gotten around to it yet, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Stay tuned for lots of reviews and more upcoming live streams. I'll try and schedule them more properly this time. This is Scotty2Hockey, a.k.a. The Average Hockey Fan. Preseason tomorrow. Go Habs, go. Enjoy the games, folks. Woo!